And last but not least, I want to talk about the new power cores that are coming to the game. And so, if you watch the last Space 8 stream, there are a couple of different prime cores coming to the game. So, we'll talk about those first. And the first one we get up here is the Amalgamous Prime Core. And so, these are just some screenshots of what's supposed to be coming to playtest over the next day or two. But it's just going to increase damage against airborne and transform bots by 3% and restores, it's going to be a percentage of health that it's going to restore. So I think that's a pretty interesting. I think it's interesting that they're saying that they're targeting bots to an increase for bots that are in the air and bots that are transform. I do think that that's going to be one of those, depending on what you use it on. Now I know a lot of times a lot of people are saying they talking about using prime cores on the MDS, so on and so forth. And Amalgamous offensively, I think is one of the best prime cores in the game. So I'm curious to see this in testing and see what it looks like. But I think that's going to be a winner for that one. All right, let's move on. Next one we're looking at is the Megatronus Prime Core. So it says nearby foes receive 50%, 2% of your damage every second. And that's right there at level 1. So I'm kind of curious. How that's going to go. The biggest thing for me with the Megatronus Core is going to be what's the range going to look like. If the range is appropriate, then I think this could be a really dynamic core, especially when you look at it. And I don't know if this is going to be the final statistic that they use, but I could definitely see this going on like an auto cannon. I could see this going on potentially an MDS, but I don't think it's going to be the best call for the MDS. But anything that's going to take you a while, I could see this going on the shock tower. I think anything that's got really high health, I think is going to be a good call for the Megatronus core. It just really depends on what that range is going to be like. And to be honest, with a lot of the prime cores, my biggest concern is the range, just because we have a bunch of power cores already that damage multiple targets or cause range extensions. And so that's one of my concerns. Next, we get the Liege Maximal Core. So it says nearby bots are hacked for 5.5 seconds, and you cannot be hacked. So you're gonna make whatever you attach this to unhackable, and every time the bots approach, they're gonna get hacked by 5.5 seconds. I think this has the potential to be a really, really powerful core, and I think it's gonna force people to use Liege Maximo offensively, because I would hope that the offensive Liege will cancel out the defensive Liege, but that remains to be seen. I'll let you know once we get it in testing. Lord Avix says in regards to Megatronus Core, put it on the MDS with the minigun setting. Yeah, I mean, they're already going to be receiving additional damage from that minigun, and if they get close enough to it, I think that's going to be a winner for you. You can really tear some stuff up. Definitely worth playing around with. Like I said, I'm going to run it in playtest. I'll see how it goes in playtest, but I think that'll be fantastic. All right, next we get the Alchemist Prime Core, and it says all of your attacks heal you for. It starts off from what they showed on the Space Ape stream, 5.5% of the damage done. We'll see what the final outcomes are in terms of percentages, but it's pretty much does the same thing that the offensive Alchemist Prime Core does. So I think it's got the potential to be a really powerful Prime Core defensively, and I think it's going to give you a lot more options. I think it's a good option for the MDS as well, just because, especially Now, I could see this when we talk about MDS, and if we're able to put these prime cores on MDS, I could really see that being an MDS core, and I could see it being used with the laser. I could see that being used with the laser because you're basically all of your attacks are going to heal you, and you're going to be hitting multiple targets. Like once you hit that first target, it's going to bounce off multiple targets, and so that's going to give you the most healing. I feel like for your buck. In theory, I'll see it when I see it in play testing. Oops. And I want to look at the Micronus core, the last prime core that they got so far, and restores health, a percentage of health to all nearby allies every 5 seconds. So I'm curious to see how that one works. Couple of things. I want to see what the range looks like on it, and I also want to see if it's going to heal outpost bots. Is it going to heal? I know it sounds like it's going to heal other defenses. That could be a really, really fun prime core as well. So in addition to the 5 prime cores that are coming to the game, defensively, you're also going to have, and we all knew this was coming for a while, they're going to have basically an anti-healing core. It's called Ray Blockers Power Core. This is going to be a build bot core. And it says it prevents nearby enemies from being healed. Area effect is going to increase by a percentage. And the key thing here is if you have a power core that heals, to include your combat bots, the Ray Blockers is not going to stop that. And I think that that's going to be what doesn't make this core. It's going to be desirable, don't get it wrong, because a lot of players get tired of seeing people just run double healers and stuff like that. But this is the exact reason that I've been telling everybody for a while. If you got a combat bot that can give you healing, individual healing, this is why I've been saying that, because something like this, and I'm not sure if it's going to stay like that, because, to be honest, I don't know if you guys saw Sunshrika Waza's stream about it, but he was saying, hey man, I'd rather have it block or reduce all healing than having it block just anything that's coming from regular healers. And to be honest, he's got a point, man, because I will still use Fracus, I will still use Singe, and this will have no effect on those bots for me. I think that that's the wrong call. I think they need to go ahead and make it to where it's a huge reduction to all healing. Yeah, Lord Avic says heartburn, like any of those type of combat bots that add additional healing, and any of those power cores, your Micronus core, if you get your rejuvenate cores, anything that's adding healing from a power core or a combat bot, it's not going to be affected by this. And this is why I've been preaching it really hard. But the concept is good. Everybody's been, a lot of the top tier players saying, well, it's getting too easy in Prime League because everybody can just run double healers. I mean, I run double healers. And until somebody gives me a legitimate reason not to, I'm going to continue to do so. At the end of the day, the build bots aren't that strong. Take the build bot out if it's got something that is stopping you from using an attack that you want. Now, with that said, I'm kind of curious what this range is going to look like. I think that it's going to be, and I'm just guessing, but I think it's going to be range similar to maybe a FFD, a force field disruptor power core. I kind of hope that's the case, but we'll see what it looks like when they actually put it in game. But I'm kind of looking forward to it. I want to test it out, see what it looks like. Now, one that I'm not really overly excited about is another build bot core, and that's called Fireproof Dome. And so this particular one is going to protect nearby buildings from fire damage, and the area effect decreases by a percentage. Now, I know there are ways that this can be really effective. So it's a couple of things that kind of bothers me about this core, or the concept of this core, I should say, because I hadn't seen the core yet. When you go look at, and I'm going to go back to the game screen for a second, because I think this is pertinent. When you go look at the Titan tech tree, and it already has anti. He oops, I'm trying to go to the tech tree, not the lab. So you already have fire and acid damage resistance. That's set all the way up to 25%. When you go and you add this to it, this build bot core to that, you now are gonna have, basically you're gonna have them stack. At least in theory, it seems like they're going to stack. So, Space Ape has already said, hey man, we're gonna focus more on combos this go around. Alright. Cool. So, I started working on knockout. I think I got knockout just like I got Nemesis Prime at like 58 already. I think I got knockout at 58. And so you can use your multiplier and stuff like that. Now, here's the thing. I don't think that I'm going to use this core regardless. I mean, they're trying to make fire and acid the meta. It's not the meta yet. But I tell you when I think I will use this. And when I think I'm going to use this is when Prime League and Cybertron League war effects change to try to, because in the past they've had them where they have a fire damage reduction, and so usually when they do fire, that's fire and acid. So now you can have 3 sources that stack. So I'm going to get this core, and I'm going to get this core, and I'm going to level it up, but I'm probably not going to use it until there's a fire reduction in the well, shoot, I probably don't need it then because people won't use fire bots. But and I'm going to watch the meta very closely. All right, Lord Avix asked the question, is combined, does it stack past 40%? I don't know. I ain't seen it yet. Hopefully Space Ape told me that I was supposed to see this stuff this week. They were supposed to send it to us today, and I haven't checked in a couple of hours, so while I was preparing for live stream, they might have released it to us already, but we're supposed to see it this week. I'll know more when I actually see it. And then the last power core that's getting introduced to the game is going to be the EMP Defense Bolt. This is going to be for your HQ. And honestly, it looks kind of good, man. Like, so it says deals an amount of damage to a single target, disables the target for 3 seconds. So, the 3 seconds that could change as the level goes up. That's what they're showing. That's what they showed in their stream. I kind of like this one because I'm gonna be honest with you, the headquarters power cores kind of suck. They don't, and this is starting off at 1,000 damage to that target. I think this has the potential to be a pretty good core. I want to see it in playtest. But the disable and the stun that's coming from it is also going to be a nice touch as well. So I just want to see what the final stats are when they have this core leveled up. As it currently stands, it looks like it's going to be stronger than single point beam. It's definitely going to be more effective than Omni Flamer. I know a lot of people, once they get it, they just use the adaptive shielding because, especially if you got any kind of time trap base or anything like that. But I think I'd use this. So I want to see it and I want to work with it a little bit to see how it goes.